Hi, this is Tracy with Watch Kansas, and today we are with Alisa Murphy, and she is running for re-election for the Leavenworth School Board. Alisa, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to Leavenworth and Kansas, and tell them a little bit about why you're running for re-election, and then we'll kind of get into some of the topics we talked about discussing today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm Alisa Murphy. I'm married to Christopher Murphy. We have 5 kids, a boy 40, a girl 37, a girl 29, a girl 22, and a girl 16. 3 of our kids have attended Leavenworth High School. The 16-year-old, of course, is still there. So we moved to this district 19 years ago on military orders, and we decided to pick Leavenworth as our home. And 4 years ago, I was approached to run for the seat that was one of the 3 seats that was vacant. They thought I would be a good fit, and I was always active in the school district, with the high school with my kids, and on the fort with my kids. So I said, okay, I'll give it a try. And I came to love it, and I've learned so much with it, and I found out there's a whole lot more work that needs to be done. So I want to continue doing that hard work and making sure we get to keep our kids first in our district, that our parents and our, of course, teachers have voices, but that our community has a voice, because we also have to be financially aware on everything we're doing too. So I want to continue the good work I believe we've been doing.
Now, I know one of the hardest things for the school board across the state was last March when Governor Kelly closed the schools down.
Yes.
How did Leavenworth handle that, and what steps did they take to provide education at that point for the kids?
Well, that was right around the course of spring break in 2020 in March, and they just didn't go back after spring break. Now, we've had online learning within our district already, and we have parents and teachers. So we already had some of those options for various reasons for various families. We just had to kind of explode it out all over. They could still continue the one that might have already been in, but then we had to create where we had the Zooms with the teachers and students, and then just try to adapt to be able to get the kids in and out of one class to the next class and not have failures. Make sure we had enough broadband. We purchased additional broadband capabilities so that we could help more at-risk areas that may not have it. We opened up portals at the high school and the other schools, so if they needed to pull up and couldn't get something at school, they could have their tablet in the parking lot, in the car with their parents,
cool, yeah.
and hook into the broadband that way, so that we still could expand. Knowing, was it perfect? By all means, no. There was no way to get anything perfect, because no one had this in a plan that this could ever possibly happen.
No.
But we did continually keep taking step after step to try to do what we could to grow and accommodate the kids we had. There were even safe spaces set up that if there was an emergency situation, that a child could go and maybe have access. I couldn't tell you the fine details of how that worked because privacy or whatnot,
Right.
but there were concessions and ways to work around to try and accommodate every child so that they could have it. And they had their Chromebooks go home with them, and we made sure all the kids were issued those all the way through the younger grades as well.
Good. Now, I know a lot of it, they finally got all the schools open,
Yes, we were so excited for that.
and you guys have summer school.
We do have summer school this year
No.
and summer camps.
Now, is that just to give is that just for the kids who fell behind and didn't pass, or are all the children eligible for summer school if they want a little extra help, or just to get a little bit ahead?
If they wanted just the extra help or to be able to get ahead, they were welcome to take those classes as well.
Excellent. So it's open to all the kids.
Yes, and it started Monday.
Okay, so you guys are already
Summer session already started on Monday. And we also had our first softball camp at the new softball baseball complex.
awesome.
That just went from Monday through Wednesday as well.
I'm excited because I know sitting home, sitting in front of a computer. How many times, for how many years we told the kids, get up off the computer and go out and play.
Yes.
Now we're telling them, go sit in front of the computer, don't move.
Yes, yes, and that didn't do a lot for children's mental health, physical health, and well-being. And we saw some suffering with depression with the kids. We've actually already hired some additional counselors. We're working with the Behavioral Health Center to help reinforce that mental health. I personally, and I can't speak for everybody else, but the kids that I know and I've seen, not counting my own, I have seen a grand improvement in the children's psychology and mood since they've been back in school and back in sports with activities that they are regrowing, they're not regressing, and they're going to catch up. But it did push many children far behind no matter how hard we tried. So this is going to help reinforce that and try and bring them ahead, and we'll keep working on it.
Now, in comparison to the way some of the other schools in your area handled this, how well do you think Leavenworth did?
I think Leavenworth was one of the #1 school districts to have handled it, because where other schools went ahead in November, because some of the county numbers went ahead and shut down and stayed shut down well into January, and maybe didn't even go back for the full 5 days or just did remote on and off. We stayed in the whole time. I understand some people had some fears. I know there were some fears with the teachers, and it can be scary to a lot of people. But I also know that every science research that I had and some other members of our board had said that our kids were not the problem. We were still socially distancing within the acceptable realm, which actually ended up shrinking.
Yeah.
And we did have the kids in masks. Did I always like the masks? No. But if it meant that it gave that one bit of safety for the teachers so that we could keep them in the classroom was the safest place for our kids.
Did you have any major health problems with the school with having in-person classes?
I do not recall being given any record stating that we had any student-to-teacher transmission. So the students were not transmitting it to the teachers. I could not find anything of the record like that. Have people been exposed and quarantined? Yes. But, what everybody does outside of their classroom time, we can't control. And you have the holidays and whatnot. But I think it's been a very successful year of us staying in session. The kids have their sports, they went on their trips, and finally, as a board, we voted to make mask optional effective the last day of school. We had an exception to the policy for graduation, so the students did not have to wear their mask when they went to receive their diplomas, get their photos and things like that. So there, even though it was indoors because of the rain, there was still that ease there.
There was some common sense.
Yes, very much so.
Made it that was what was best for the kids.
And summer school, it is masks optional.
Now, we're going to have a beautiful summer. It's already nice and hot. I'm trying to get my pool open so we can have all the nieces and nephews come swim, get some exercise, get the kids out of the house, moving around, having a good time, impacting their mental health positively. I know that's something we talked about with that you've got some behavioral therapists and such to help the kids with their mental health. So I know depression has been a big one for not just the kids, but for the adults. So if the adults are having problems with it, the kids are going to suffer more from it. Now we've got, after this beautiful summer, we're going back to school. All the kids are going back to school. Are we going to require all of our children to be vaccinated before they come back to school?
I personally would not vote to make that vaccine mandatory. I am not an anti-vax parent whatsoever. My child's getting ready to get her meningitis vaccine tomorrow, and her TB test. They've been vetted. They've been vetted, and they've had long-term studies. Even so much with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, it is a viral vector vaccine. My concern with any of these 3 vaccines are for emergency use and goes until 2023, I believe. they don't have the long-term study. Yes, we've had vaccines, but even the flu vaccine, 10 to 20 years study. This is an mRNA that's basically gene therapy. It's something that you would normally use to try and assist a patient with cancers. And they don't really know what all is helping with that right now. It's still in study. So we do not, as a district right now, mandate vaccines for our teachers or our staff.
Okay, good.
So I do not see how, and I can't speak for the rest of the board. I'm
Right.
just one member
Right.
of the board. I'm just one voice, and the voice for some of the community members that have reached out to me. If the parents and teachers, or the teachers and the teachers and staff are not mandated to be vaccinated, I do not see how the board could come to terms to try and mandate it for a student or a parent. Because one, if there is something wrong, where are they gonna go to sue if something happens because you mandated it?
Nobody's responsible.
Right, and that concerns me too.
Yeah.
And, we all say life is valuable, and if, it's sad if one person dies from any illness, well, it should also be sad if anybody becomes sick or injured because of something else. And I think right now, until it's been fully vetted, it should be personal choice.
I agree with you 100%, but then again, Kansas knows that. Okay, now, so we basically covered how well Leavenworth handled a difficult situation. What are we looking forward to for the next 4 years?
Wow.
I know you've got long-term plans, I know this.
Oh,
I mean, you can tell by your
absolutely.
smile.
Well, fortunately, we've been lucky enough to be able to increase some teachers and staff pay. We've, again, hired some additional counselors. We're working with the behavioral center so we can reinforce some of the damage the COVID lockdowns did by sequestering people away from each other, so that we can try and build those blocks back up and make people feel more secure in everything. We have the gorgeous what was Lawson Elementary School now turning into the pre-K kindergarten early education center. I was just in there in a tour with the museum, saw the furniture getting put together, the magnificent hallways that look like the river and the grasslands, and so I know we have phenomenal benefits for the younger generation coming in. I know what the 5th, 6th grade center looks like, where it's attached to the 7th and 8th grade center. So when all this comes together in August, that means all the elementary schools no longer have pre-K kindergarten in it. That frees up all that space.
Wow.
This last year, because the 5th, 6th grade, that was all, the 5th grade was freed up from that. So our elementary schools are only going from 1st to 4th. That's more space, that is less crowding, that gives more to one-on-one time where you have greater facility for the number of children you have. I see that causing a more one-to-one contact for our education for our students, which is also gonna help them grow. And I'm just looking forward to hopefully being able to keep increasing our staff and teachers' pay, to keep reinforcing the children's education, and helping them with their scores and learning new techniques that will help them all adapt, and hopefully never having to go backwards again like we had to do in March of 2020. I never want to see us ever having to close the doors to our kids ever again.
Yes, I agree, because, sometimes I know there weren't choices for a lot of times for the school districts, and they had to do the best they could, but I don't think really anybody's agreeing that it was the best across the board. So I'm really excited about the upcoming school year, and the kids being able to hopefully all be in class all the time and back to the old normal.
Yes.
Back to learning the way kids are meant to learn. I know I got to visit a couple years ago one of your classes up in Leavenworth, and I got to meet some amazing teachers when I was up there, and teachers had alternative seating. They didn't have, all kids don't learn sitting and holding their hands, and
Flex seating, yes.
and it
We're
was-
huge on flex
Yes.
seating in all our schools.
and they had, teacher had flexible seating, and some of it her husband had built. and they had high top tables, and they had little desks they can sit on the floor and cross their legs and put their computer on it, and it holds their computer so they can sit on the floor. You had kids that were kicked back on pillows with their heads propped up, also the multiplication tables, and I saw that in to a major extent in one room, and then went with her to visit some other rooms in the school, and some other teachers had that, and it was just so amazing, and to watch the way the kids interacted with the teachers, with the flexible seating. And it was there was still a formality, there was still a politeness. The kids were very, very sweet and polite, but there was more of a comfort level with the kids, like you would find more at home. And the kids just seemed to be really learning well in a completely different manner than when you're all sitting there holding your hands together. I was very impressed. That was at one of your schools, so.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, so if that's encouraged in the school district,
yes,
then
we're
I'm
very
really impressed.
proud of all the flexing. We're proud of the slide in the 5th, 6th grade center. We actually built a slide in there.
Inside?
Yep, there's a
Oh,
slide
right.
inside. The school board members were some of the first people that went down it.
Well, duh.
Well, I'm sure the construction people did too, and probably the district head office, but yeah, we enjoyed being able to see that. And it's like when we went to the pre-K center, kindergarten center, there's little itty bitty exercise equipment for 4 and 5-year-olds. There's little teeny tiny treadmills, little weight machines.
Kids
and
love to work out, especially if they've got a role model that
oh
does
yeah,
it.
huge outdoor play area with little
Right.
concert area pads. There's a ship to make you reflect on the Missouri River and how we had steamboats. There's murals from Everhart collection on the walls in the teacher's study rooms. And
So later this summer, right before after school starts, depending on what your availability, I'm going to be asking for a tour for Watch Kansas.
well, by all means, please call the district office and talk to Brenda, the administrative assistant for Dr. Roth, and talk to them and get you in there to see that.
Sounds great. I think that'd be great for a good way for the community to get to view it too.
Yes.
Now, wrapping up, why don't you let everybody know how they can get a hold of you?
All
So
right.
that way they can reach out to you with questions and compliments, and they can also donate and offer to work on your campaign.
Yes. My email is Alisa, ALISA MURPHY.USD453@gmail.com. And then you can find me on Facebook, Alyssa J. Mahone Murphy, or my school board page, Alyssa Murphy, USD 453 School Board. And you usually see me around town or doing something for somebody on Facebook anyway. So, and my phone number and everything is on the district website. And if you have any questions about when we have school board meetings, if you go to our district website, that calendar is there as well. Our next meeting is this coming Monday at 6 o'clock, the 14th of June. So please tune in to our channel. If you want to come and attend, please call the office and find out exactly what availabilities they have depending on how many students may be getting awards or something like that. There could be an audience cap just because of the space, but by all means, please call them, reach out to the district office, and if you have any questions, they're very accommodating.
Excellent. Well, this was really informative. I really enjoyed this. And this is Tracy and Alisa with Watch Kansas.